Hey guys, happy Mother's Day. It's coming up soon. I wanted to show you this video on how I cover foam really quickly in the shop, especially for design competitions or quick designs where you don't have a lot of greenery in your cooler, how you can utilize the most out of the greenery that you do have. I've got 3 examples right here. We're prepping for Mother's Day and the rush of it, and so I wanted to kind of do a quick video just to show you what I do. First of all, I've got a large container here. I've got a 1.5 blocks of foam. I have inserted it vertically in this container, specifically because I want that water to be able to touch the bottom of this block of foam and then continue to rise up. When you cut it horizontally, say if I put this piece on top of this, it doesn't transfer water from one block to the other. So make sure every time you put your foam into containers, they're going straight up and down from the bottom to the top. That way that water level starts to lower over time, and you're good because the customer is going to add water in there and fill it up, and that water will transfer, so your stems will always be in water. For this particular container, I'm actually going to use Aurelia in here. You can use it with use Monstera the same way. I'm going to level off the foam even with the rim of the vase because I don't want more floral foam to cover. This is something really quick and easy that I can kind of trim off these little corner pieces right here. I don't want the arrangement to be shown that it's a block of foam, so I'm going to make it even and smooth, kind of level with that top of the container. I'm going to take the Aurelia, and I've got a bunch of Aurelia here, and as you know, when you get it from the farm, whether it's from your wholesaler or they have divvied it up at a design competition or you're testing, you don't know what you're going to get, and sometimes it's not all perfectly even. So I go through and evaluate my materials. I always look for the things that they give you, such as rubber bands or plastic or, you know, ribbons tied around a bunch or something like that. So you always want to use the things that you're given in competition and in testing. For this one in particular, I am designing this arrangement to go more upright. I want it to be very strong, powerful statement coming out of the center of this vessel. So I don't want a lot of greenery kind of messing up my design and making it kind of too busy. What I'm going to do is evaluate my Aurelia. I see I've got 2 large leaves here. I'm going to pull those 2 out and put those to the side so I can see. Then it looks like I've got a little bit smaller ones in here. Those are the ones that I'm going to make sure I use on the top. So I see I've got a couple of the smaller ones. I've got some that I've got not as wide, so I'm going to spread those out again to kind of see those. And then I have, here's another wide one that looks like that one, and not sure if I like that split in the middle, so I'm going to put that one over there. So now I can look at my Aurelia. This one has got this kind of curve to it. That's really pretty, but it's not correct for this design. I want more flat leaves. This one is not perfectly symmetrical. I'm going to move that over to the side. So now I've evaluated my leaves to see how they lay and to see the graduating sizes from the largest one on down to the smallest one. What I'm going to do is start with the largest leaf, and I'm going to place that on the side of my container right here. So basically what I'm doing is I'm covering up, I'm actually going to move it a little bit further. I'm going to cover up the rim of that vase. So that is my first trick to kind of show, to cover up that the holes, the space between the foam and the vessel. So I have placed that more at an angle right here. I've also used that stem to connect the 2 blocks of foam. Remember, I have a full block and a half of a block. And basically, instead of using tape to go across the top of this and hold these blocks together, I'm going to use the stems of the Aurelia a little bit longer than necessary. And when I go to place that at an angle into 1 block of foam and cross over to the other block of foam, it's going to hold those 2 blocks together. So there again, something that you're missing out of your toolbox or you don't have at your competition or your testing site, this is something really easy you can use. I can even take off a part of this Aurelia and bend it over and pierce those 2 blocks of foam right there. As you can kind of see, that's a really quick tip to use the stems. You could always use the things that you're given in nature, especially the Aurelia stems They're pliable. You can bend that over. And then what I'm going to do is just keep going with the next size. As you can see, I'm just going to go a little bit further in and kind of work my way right there in the center. And this is the look I'm going for. So you can see how that just kind of fans off and feathers off to the side. Look how pretty that is. And if I were to place something here in the middle or make my design cluster down here, or if it's going upright, you still have this really beautiful look that doesn't distract from any direction that you're going. It's a very heavy green, smooth texture, so it kind of recedes into the background so you don't have that interest. You have a technique here that is very nice with the layering. And you can have the gradated sizes, so you've got the smaller sizes going into the larger sizes, so that gives you a really beautiful look. So this is another way to cover foam. It's quick and easy. Say you wanted to separate all of your materials and you didn't want to use that much, you could easily pull out a lot of this and not do near as much. What I would do if I only had, say, 1 leaf or even 2 leaves, I would start further into the block of foam, move it here, and maybe go the opposite way and move that there. Now look, you've got 2 pieces of Aurelia and it's covered up the majority of that space. But remember, you must cover your mechanics, so floral foam in here. I would either put some type of moss in here to cover that, or shave my floral foam down a little bit further so you don't need all of that. So you can also put a 3rd one right in here and see how quickly that covers. The key to it is to make sure that you put the outer leaves in first and then work your way in. So that's one trick, one tip, I should say. We are magicians, but really this is a skill, and knowing your techniques is what's going to get you that first place prize or even that qualifying for your test. Here's another container I have here. Very quickly, I'm going to show you that I have space around this. This is super important. A lot of flower shops do not recognize when they cut that floral foam brick to the exact same size of the vessel, you do not allow enough space for water to be in the vessel. So if you imagine taking that floral foam, putting it in there, filling it with water to the very top, and then actually pouring that excess water out into a vessel, you can see that it's not a lot of water. So you want to make sure that you have plenty of space for water. So I've cut the floral foam down a little bit smaller, probably about a 1/2 inch space all the way around the vessel and the floral foam. Then you can see as I pour that up, see how much more water that holds. That allows more water to be in the vessel for the consumer to not have to water it 3 or 4 times a day. So you've got a lot of water in there. This one, I'm going to show you how to use aspidistra. Again, evaluating how many I have and seeing the sizes that I have, and then planning out the design, how I need that to work with either my design competition or we're talking about testing. Either one, you need to be very smart with the materials that you're given. You don't want to use all of your materials or even 50% of your materials in the first design that you're designing for a competition or for your testing. So with that, even in my flower shop, if I don't have a budget that will allow me to use a lot of greenery and things like that, then I'm going to get the most out of what I do have. Aspidistra, as you will see on a lot of my videos, is one of my favorites. I like piercing it into itself and being able to use it to do different techniques. But if I didn't have much of a budget, I could very easily roll it back into the vessel and around. And again, use your what you're given. I could use this to kind of pierce. Oh, let me use the aspidistra. So here is your aspidistra leaf, and the stem, I'm just going to pierce that back into itself on the bottom of it to hold that leaf in place. You can see there how it just pierces in. And then I'm going to squeeze that foam right into the vessel. So see how easy that is to cover up the floral foam? That way from here, all you have to start doing is piercing right into this. And that's where you're going to insert your flowers. So something there, something right here. And as you can see there, when you go to put your flowers in or whatever stems you need, you don't really need as much as you did before. So create something extraordinary with that. Concentrate on the flowers, concentrate on the design. You no longer have to worry about several insertions of greenery into that floral foam. You can actually use it to make something really exquisite. I'm going to show you one more technique with the aspidistra. And what this is I'm just going to wrap that aspidistra, and I pierce on one side and then wrap around, and then do one more. So I pierced into the floral foam, I wrapped it around, and then I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm piercing into the floral foam through the aspidistra, and I'm going to wrap that around again. Then when I slide that into the vessel, you can see how much that floral foam is covered by the aspidistra. You can pierce it over and then start inserting your flowers in that way. I'm just using the foxtail fern here just because that's what I have. And you can kind of see just how that works. Again, if you needed to pierce that, hold that aspidistra in place without it being a flower, use the stem of your aspidistra and pierce right on top of that if you're not given green pins or anything like that. And there you go. You have more floral foam covered, and you don't have a lot of foliages and product that you use. I know a lot of times in competitions and actually even our own shops, we're not given a whole lot of budget to do those little minor things. So there you go, another way to cover up your floral foam with your foliages. This is kind of like a staple in your shop, the Aurelia, the Monstera, the Aspidistra, so that you always have some way to create any design that the customer wants at the time. So that's another way. Here is my other smaller piece right here. And what I'm going to show you here again is just the amount of water that you have in this vessel. So this is a 4x4 cube, and you can see the water that if I have this larger block of foam, it's giving me a little bit of space, but it's filled all the way up to the top. I pull that out and pour that in. That's not a lot of water, especially for the flowers we're going to use. So I'm going to shave this down a little bit more and put that in there. Now when I pour all that water in there, you can actually see just how much water that'll hold. That's a lot more than was before. So all of that space that your floral foam is taking up, it's taking up space where you could have actual water. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to actually cut this down a little bit more so that it's even with your container. And again, I'm going to show you how I use a very large leaf. Now this leaf is massive compared to this small vessel, but this is what I'm given, this is what I have, so I'm going to make the most of it. So this is a large tea leaf or tie, whatever you say, and with this one, because it's so large and it's very stiff, I'm going to shave off the spine on the back side of the leaf so it would be easier to manipulate. So this makes it a little bit easier to bend. And if you want to go a little bit more, the only thing about doing this is just to make sure you don't go too deep. If you go too deep, you're going to rip the leaf like that, or you're going to get too far into it and then you'll have two separate leaves. Now, if you happen to do that and it messes up, work with it. You know, rethink your designs and make that work however you need to. Again, this is another way to create or hide that floral foam, especially if you don't have the aspidistra like I showed you before. You could fold that under and place it into your container. And there you have a very cute little twist inside of there. The floral foam isn't even present. It's holding the water, and then you could start designing right out the top of this container. So I've got a couple pieces like this. If I wanted to cover up that floral foam, I could do it with carnations or button mums or any type of pave look or terracing within that to make it kind of a cute little unique look, or even just clustering a lot of these pittosporum florets right at the top. I've used less than one branch, full branch, and just kind of tucked in a couple little colors like this. This would be really cool if you had a lined flower, say something like the stalk right here coming out of the middle. You could even do a couple of them coming at the bottom, but be creative. This is not a design video. This is just technique and some of the ways to kind of help you with those future testing, your testing, your competitions, or even here in the flower shop when you're running out of materials at the very end, because we know that we're going to sell out of every single thing that we have. It's going to be a fabulous holiday, and this is something to kind of get you out of a bind or to give you more options. Y'all have a great, fabulous holiday. Good luck with everything. Y'all have a great week. Thanks.